Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, cats and kittens, dogs and fucking puppies, wrestling fans all over the world, the ones that are still in quarantine here, although it's not looking good out there with this coronavirus shit. When the fuck are we actually going to get professional wrestling back here in America? But if you guys keep not wearing them fucking masks, we'll never get back to that now, will we? Now, nonetheless, with that being said, welcome to the Wrestling Enthusiast Real Talk. I am Eric Peralta, otherwise known as the Wrestling Enthusiast. Today, we're going to review this past Monday Night Raw. And of course, after 2 days, I was supposed to be uploading this episode on Monday, but we had a little change of plans, a little bit of computer issues here and there, and I had to do some edits. But other than that, it'll be the 24th by the time this shit gets released. So today we're going to talk about this Monday's Monday Night Raw. And I also have a special guest. Ruben Juarez, who is a friend of mine. And he is a big wrestling fan as well. He knows his thing. He knows what to do. He's a wrestling enthusiast himself. And we're going to have a little chat going on and see how the current situations have been going on, especially with the speaking out movement. And who do you think is going to be the future star of the professional wrestling business? But in the meantime, let's take a look at the viewership for this past Monday's Raw, which was not the numbers that we were used to, more or less accustomed to. So this week's episode of WWE Monday Night Raw drew 1,922,000 viewers. This is down from 1,940,000 viewers the show did last week. Hour 1 averaged 2,035,000 viewers. Hour 2 drew 1,950,000 viewers. And the final hour of the show averaged 1,782,000 viewers. The 18 to 49 demographic on Hour 1 saw 0.58, then a 0.53 in Hour 2, and then a 0.49 in Hour 3. That's not really good numbers there. I mean, I will say that, releasing Paul Heyman sure helped bump up those numbers, right? Yeah, not well. Now, before we get to the interview, I will start talking shit about Fox, because I kind of have a pet peeve with them about the Jeff Hardy Sheamus thing they had that was leading up to their match at Backlash. What I didn't like was the fact that Fox Network was completely edit out the whole segment that had this whole segment that literally when Jeff Hardy got the urine sample and then he threw it in Sheamus's face, and they completely edit that out on the West Coast conference. I'm sorry, the West Coast feed. Sorry, excuse me. I had to say to myself, that was fucking complete bullshit. And it's typical Fox. I just don't know why they would just do this shit in the West Coast. But in the East Coast, you saw that shit. You lived in New York City, Miami, Florida, Charlotte, North Carolina, you name it, anywhere around that region, you pretty much saw Sheamus getting piss thrown at his face. There's a statement here that said, this is a report according to Dave Meltzer. He said, in quote, "It aired on the East Coast but not on the West Coast. Fox decreed that it violated their standards and practices, so they threw a commercial in so we didn't get to see it on the West Coast." That's what that was about. Well, that just alone right there tells me how shitty the Fox network and network television truly is. I don't like it, I don't watch it, and I hate it. But you know what's funny to me? It's very funny that that the Fox network, or much less, let's go to the other one, CBS, NBC, ABC. ABC is one of the worst offenders in the history of television programming. Look, I understand you're trying not to offend people. That's fine. That's totally fine by me. But here's the thing. If you're not trying to offend people, why the hell do you have a black comedy sitcom, family sitcom called Blackish? And that's not even one of the worst offenders. What about the Asian community? What do they think of that show? There's a show, it's a comical sitcom, and it's based on an Asian American family. And the show is called Fresh Off the Boat. Well, we have a fucking double standard here. Who fuck? Yeah, I fucking hate the networks. ABC, fuck you. NBC, go fuck yourself. Stands for nice big cock. CBS, what the fuck? It's just fucking gives diarrhea to geriatric patients of waiting for their fucking Metamucil in the fucking retirement home. Fox could go suck a big fat fucking dick. Because they fucking suck. Fox is one of the worst offenders. Especially that Fox News. They're pro-Trump and they're so delusional. They're so stupid. It's like an alternate reality. I'm like, why the fuck would people watch this shit? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Stop sucking the Republicans' dicks and think for your fucking selves. You fucking dumb, mush-mouth, remedial bastards. But anyway, I would never watch Fox anymore. As long as they're gonna keep going in this fucking direction. I am pissed off about them. They can go fuck themselves with a French tickler. For all I fucking care. All right, now for the next segment, what we're going to be doing something a little different here in this week's episode of the Wrestling Enthusiast Real Talk. What we're going to do is we're going to have a one-on-one interview with a friend of mine who is a big wrestling fan who follows pretty much a lot of the independent promotions all over the world, and he pretty much is a big-time wrestling fan. He's been watching since the golden days of WWE, and now criticizes how bland the product actually is right now. However, we also discuss about the speaking out movement, and we also see who you think is the future of professional wrestling. So ladies and gentlemen, I will be giving you. This was recorded yesterday. The interview of Ruben Juarez, aka Soulfulclouds, who's a big friend of mine. He's a good guy, and I suggest you guys give him a follow. He's a really cool guy. He likes talking about music and hip-hop music and all that stuff. So he likes corroborations and all that. You name it, he loves it all. So this is my interview. So the following is going to be my interview with Ruben Juarez, a.k.a. Soulfulclouds. Hope you give it a good listen. All right, now it's time for a special guest today. This is the first time we're going to be doing something like this. He's a friend of mine. I went to school with him since, God knows when, like a 4th grade or 5th grade or some shit like that. I've known him for a long time. He's also an avid wrestling fan as well. So give it up for Ruben Juarez, a.k.a. Soulfulclouds. Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, man. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate it. Man, has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been crazy. A long time, since back in the good old days when elementary school and shit. It's been that long.
Oh, man. Well, I appreciate the friendship, you know. It's lasted through the years and decades and these crazy times. So, you always been a great friend to me, so much appreciated.
Yeah, no, a great friendship will always last, especially, with this one we got, man. We're cool, man. We've known each other for so long, back in high school, middle school, back in the good old days when, especially during you're an avid wrestling fan too, right?
I am a big time fan. Like anyone else, I was in love with the WWF. The Stone Cold, The Rock, the Triple H, the Undertaker back in the '90s. Big time fan, and from there it just grew into its own bubble of learning and watching and taking various types of wrestling promotions all over the world. New Japan fan as well. I've been getting into the indie scene as well. So,
yeah, New Japan's doing awesome right now, especially that New Japan Cup tournament going on.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited for that. But it started from mainstream with all those big stars, and then it formed into its own little thing, and it's more diverse now that I'm at a later stage in life, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely looking at watching wrestling for the past 3 decades, pretty much for me. Because I've been watching it since I was 3, so I've always been hooked on it ever since. This was during back during the Hulkamania days, So it was the gimmicks and all that stuff. You get attracted to it, and then you want
the
larger than life characters that just pop up on your TV screen. That's how it is. It's pretty awesome.
No, absolutely. I forgot to mention the greats, but for me, it was the Attitude Era for sure. And then researching and looking at Hulk Hogan. Even in the Attitude Era, with WCW, I was also a fan of that. And watching what he did with the NWO, with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, it kind of made me research, like, who's this Hulk Hogan? I was just a kid. I didn't know much.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but like I said, no, I've known him because when I guess back when I was a little kid, I always see the guy is all about Hulkamania, and they always come out, something, brother, that type of shit, and the red and the yellow, recognizable colors and all that stuff. And I even played the video games, the Super Nintendo games where he had him as a playable character, and he was the thing back in those days.
Yeah, man. In contrast to that, Macho Man. Oh, yeah, brother.
That was another colorful character himself right there. Ooh,
absolutely.
Yeah. Up to me, Randy said. Oh, yeah. Dig it.
That was my favorite, dude.
That was back in the old days, man. Ultimate Warrior, Undertaker, when he was barely starting up. You know what I mean? It's just the contrast of styles. It's just back in those days, different gear. And then when the Attitude Era started to happen, the whole industry literally started to change. And then everything just started getting more aggressive, and it was more crazy, So
absolutely.
It turned out to be really watchable to a point where you're like, fuck, I cannot miss another week. I got to watch every week.
And I feel like that's a part of time, I think wrestling keeps evolving. You had your larger-than-life characters, and then they morph into this going against the system, type of wrestling with Stone Cold the World, pushing against his boss, and then it morphed to that Cena ruthless aggression era, just gritty. And then now it's just it keeps morphing. I feel like with the whole wrestling, it's expand. There was a point in time I felt that only WWE was getting, after they bought WCW, I felt just that was the only type of wrestling that would be on TV. But now you see AEW on TV.
Yeah.
You see a lot of indie promotions on streaming services.
Yeah.
Like TV.
It's really a lot of fun to watch now because you get to diversify your wrestling promotions now these days because what it is to the basic fan, it seems like in this day and age, if everyone's going to talk about wrestling, it's basically they're going to say, "Oh, you mean WWE?" Or yeah, is that what you're going to be talking about? Wrestling, right? WWE. That's the place to go because basically that promotion is basically what everyone's mind. So it's a basic viewer that's watching wrestling. But if you're a hardcore wrestling fan like I am, you know that there's many different promotions out there. You know, you look at AEW and you notice how they're getting bigger and bigger slowly but surely. And then you're also seeing the other ones. You see Impact Wrestling, you see Ring of Honor, you see MLW, you see the NWA, you see New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know, it's a lot of shit that you see, and you know, it's definitely worth watching. You know, and to diversify different styles in professional wrestling.
No, yes. I think the big one would be AEW. You know, having their own TV. It's been more than a decade that another brand of wrestling was on TV. Cable TV, nonetheless. But even that, you know, there was a momentum of other wrestling promotions wanting to start up. You know, you can always go with New Japan Pro Wrestling, but you know they're Japanese based, and I know they had a brief stint on cable TV, but it never felt like there was a major push.
I think that was Access TV.
Yes, Access. There was never that major push for American side of it, but AEW is getting that major push. You know, they're on a big network like TNT. It has origins of wrestling, so I think that was the major push that has ignited other indie promotions, and there's hope. You know, there's always been Ring of Honor. I always enjoyed their stuff. You could go to Progress. I know Progress is, I think it's being sold right now, but Progress was.
I think they're changing management right now because of what's been going on. But you know, I think they're going to change management.
Oh, is it? No, I'm so sorry. It's Evolved.
Oh, Evolve, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
Progress is the UK one. Yeah, sorry.
Progress, in the UK. Evolve, in case you don't know, Evolve is going to be sold to the WWE because I guess they were in big financial trouble. So I guess what ended up turning out to be a desperation situation ended up being something that was similar to when Vince McMahon bought the WCW back in 2001. But, you know, this time now they're getting an independent promotion like Evolve, and they're going to buy their tape library, and who knows, I mean, what they're going to do with it. Hopefully they'll put it on the WWE Network soon.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of great wrestlers stepped there. We're wrestling there and have done great things like Keith Lee and Matt Riddle, just some of the wrestlers. But Evolve was one of them. PCW Ultra that we watch, that's another great promotion, and I think they're going to do great things. Hopefully, after this pandemic, after this stressful year, hopefully 2021 they can rebuild and keep continuing to move forward and do great things. Their roster is second to none. It's super talented. You have Alex Hammerstone in there. You have Joseph Fatu. You got tremendous wrestlers that you can build around. James
definitely.
Douglas.
Yeah, Douglas James, and you got what's his name, Don Kubrick. It's funny because when you saw Don Kubrick actually wrestle, it's funny because you didn't know who he was, 2 shows before that, but then after that, you ended up knowing who he was, and he ended up becoming phenomenal.
That talent has everything, everything you need to be a great, successful wrestler. And I believe he studied underneath Jake Atlas's school, so that's a big thing too. And you look at Jake Atlas in NXT. He's being built up and he's doing some moves. Nothing too major, but he's making a rumbling here and there. So Jake has always been he's always been tremendous in PCW Ultra, and so for him to pass the torch to Don, Don will continue.
It's definitely he's definitely one talent to definitely look forward to in the upcoming years to come. And since we're talking about independent wrestling, you are aware of the certain situations that have been going on in the past couple of days. With numerous indie wrestlers, most of them from the UK scene. I grant that, but then a few of them started to be named right here in the States. And then just recently, earlier today, about Sammy Guevara. You know,
Oh man, yeah.
well, I saw that little thing on Twitter. And by the way, I hate fucking Twitter. By the way, just FYI, I fucking hate Twitter. I mean, I was thinking about creating a profile there, but I thought to myself, man, there's a bunch of fucking dickless bricks behind the keyboard that don't even know how, they can't even fucking control themselves, cannot resist the urge to fucking talk shit. You know what I mean? Except half the time they just stick thumb in their ass.
Yeah, Twitter's toxic. It could get toxic. I try to stay off of it. I know, you can say some things, and there's no repercussions. There's no, hey, I just called this person blah blah blah, and got super offended, and that's it. You can't do anything about it. You can't flame the flames. You can't just give me a lighter. I'll pour some more gasoline on that. Oh, it hasn't gone down. Let me pour some more gasoline on top of it. So it's best to stay. It's best to stay.
Let me spread some gasoline, and on top of that, take a big giant country shit on it, and then fucking set it on fire.
Absolutely, bro. They ain't gonna stop anything.
Well, so anyway, with that in mind. The whole situation with the speaking out movement with numerous women wrestlers that have gotten involved in the business, that have left it, and then they've actually sent out these allegations on Twitter. It's just it's a big fucking list. You see Legero, you see Jordan Devlin, you see his name in there, and he even mentioned something about Matt Riddle, but that's kind of disputed. Jim Cornette, even.
I know, your boy.
Well, I mean, I'm a fan of his. I will give him that, but I mean, I'm not condoning what he says 100% of the time, because he does talk a lot of shit. But at the same time, see, his stories are interesting because you get to see how it was back in the day when he was there being a manager, and he said he's fucking gotten death threats left and right. So I think he's just accustomed to this type of shit. But now that he's gotten mentioned earlier today in his little podcast that they never did anything like that. He just that he said that him and his wife, I guess because they go out and then they can I guess they go out and they have drinks and whatnot, and then they just they have a little fun, but it's between them. It's not between anybody else. And
so he didn't even admit that he's a swinger.
Yeah, so basically he's a swinger, and basically she's a swinger. They like to live like that. However,
they said that. Jim Cornette, he admitted to that?
No, he didn't admit it. He's just saying that this guy that fucking supposedly put the accusations on there is supposedly he's lying because I guess he must have gotten pictures of his wife, because sometimes he has shown pictures of her ass on to send it to Jim Cornette on his cell phone. But it's fucking funny. I'm like,
oh, man.
Yeah, but at the same time, he said that he had nothing to do with it because I guess this guy that used to work with him in OVW and developmental, I guess he must have got pissed at him for something, and I guess he must have went in. But I'm like, that's like 15 fucking years ago, and he said that his fucking account was barely. Like his phone, his messenger account, his Twitter was barely made back in 2014. And it's like, I don't know, something doesn't add up.
That's the thing,
That story. But
that's the thing, though.
Huh?
Well, here's the thing, right? I haven't heard Jim Cornette's side, so it's hard to differentiate what he's trying to state, but all I know, he's being sexually accused, and knowing Jim, he's kind of worked this because he's that old-fashioned mind. Like, this is an angle to me, so why not work he's kind of screwed up in the mind. Jim's always saying the darndest things. So this doesn't surprise me, honestly. This is not something that. Oh, how dare you blame Jim Cornette or accuse Jim Cornette and his lovely wife of like sexual assault or sexual misconduct or all these things. No, I would not have no doubt or a second thought of if Jim Cornette gets accused. Like, yeah, that's pretty much. I can believe that. I can most definitely believe that, and it's horrible. This past week has shocked the whole entire wrestling business. You hear accusations from it's been a crazy week. You heard David Starr's been accused as well.
Right. I heard about it. But the proof is in the pudding on that one, I could say, because of some weird shit he said on the podcast one time. I'm like, I don't know about you, man. But another thing, Grave Hop 77 says it's probably false. I mean, it could be, but you have to hear Jim Cornette's side of the story. So
absolutely.
You have to listen to it on the Jim Cornette drive-thru that he just released earlier today. So speaking that in mind, this whole Sammy Guevara situation, Sasha Banks. I heard that thing and I was like, "Fuck, dude, what the fuck? Come on, man."
I heard it, and the suspension hammer came down quickly. Sammy's, that young talented wrestler coming up in the business, doing great things right now, and being a part of the inner circle. And sometimes in life, you say some things that you regret, and there's no repercussions for a very long time, and then all of a sudden, just things happen in the whirlwind, and there's all these things that were okay to say in the past are very different now in today's times, and I feel like AEW is a part of that and recognizes that and wanted to set an example. There's probably tons of wrestlers in their company that have probably said some stupid stuff. And this is years, maybe years ago, maybe a decade ago. These are the times that we're living in right now. There has to be some sort of action, and especially what happened last week. With so many women coming out and telling their story, how they were sexually taken advantage of, have been abused, have been even raped. This didn't come in, and it was like a perfect storm of what Sammy said, and that forced AEW to suspend him. It was like a perfect storm of all these things that just, hey, you know what, Sammy? Even though you said it a couple of years ago, we gotta set an example.
Right,
Jimmy Havoc,
another one.
Yeah.
But, I don't know what the hell happened, but apparently he's being sent to rehab and, getting mental evaluation and all that shit. So, I don't know. I like, they probably might, he's guaranteed to be suspended. So I guess that's why they send him to a rehabilitation clinic to check him out, I guess he has had problems before. So, that's one way you can look at it if you think about it. Grave Hop 77 says, "You look like Pickle Boy, no offense."
I don't know. Is it me or is it both of us?
No, it's talking to me. He's giving me an old happy grandpa fucking reference right there. I'll take that. I'll take that. And don't worry, I don't get offended. It's just that I don't get offended easily. I just get offended by people that talk shit about the wrestling business, because I say, "Oh, it's fake," and it's like, "Fuck you, it ain't fake, motherfucker." But that's just me right there. So so with the Sammy Guevara situation, You think it's justified that he gets a suspension?
It's tough to say, but I would say yes. You kind of have to set an example, especially what happened last week. Like I mentioned, it was a perfect storm of just women sharing their stories and calling out the business, and for AEW to suspend or pretty much suspend as well, or have Jimmy Havoc go to rehab, and probably at the rehab he's going to get the suspension hammer or he's going to get fired. For Sammy not to have anything, not to be reprimanded, it had to happen. It kind of had to happen. So,
that was coming from there. Yeah, we were expecting that. There's just one more thing I want to mention. Yeah, go ahead.
But I was going to say that moving forward, like, people are going to bring out even more further stuff, like from any company, WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor. I know when all of this was happening, I kept thinking of Jay Lethal.
All right.
Because, if you don't remember, Jay Lethal was called out by Taylor Hendricks, I believe.
Yeah.
And when he had his stable, Jay Lethal had his own stable, and they had the world champion and the TV championship too. Apparently, during that time, she was saying that Jay Lethal was coming on to her strongly, trying to propose all these things, all these sexual things for her to move forward in her career. That happened like a year ago, but I kind of thought about that. That might resurface as well. So my whole point on this is that a lot of wrestlers are going to continue to get called out on. WWE, Ring of Honor, AEW, doesn't matter what company you are, big or small. It's time to remove all these dirtbags. I'm not. There's plenty of wrestlers that probably have abused women, have abused men too.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully it gets cleaned out, because the wrestling business could be dirty, man.
Yeah, I mean, especially the backstage politics that it really sucks to hear about, especially now that this shit's been happening. And then, of course, I talk a lot of shit about Vince McMahon because, and his little, I call him his butt buddy, Kevin Dunn, because the squirrel mouth looking shit watered down the product. You know what I mean? And we have like these hokey storylines and shit with these goofy situations happening, you know what I mean? And I don't know if you've seen any of my or if you listen to any of my Real Talk podcasts. There was one in particular. I reviewed AEW Dynamite that week, and then I also reviewed Monday Night Raw that happened a few days later, and I went on a tirade because I fucking felt that before they let the NXT developmental people start watching at ringside, what happened was there was a stupid segment where Aleister Black was fighting against Murphy, and then Austin Theory just got recently tossed by Selena Vega's posse, and then Seth Rollins was coming towards him at ringside, so he picks him up from sitting there nearby the timekeeper, and then he freaking picks him up, and then he starts attack, and then Austin Theory talks to Seth Rollins, and then Austin Theory jumps in the ring, starts attacking Aleister Black, and beats the hell out of him, and then it was 3-on-1 from there. And then Austin Theory started beating the hell out of Aleister Black, and then they threw him out ringside and they beat his ass. Now, that's not what pissed me off. What pissed me off was the fact that there was a 30-second moment of silence where Seth Rollins was looking at Murphy. Then he turns around and looks at Austin Theory for like a good 15, 20 seconds. Walks up towards him slowly. You know what that told me? That was basically
someone missed a spot.
No, that told it was a missed spot to begin with. But no, see, that told me that one of these dickheaded writers in the back in that locker room over there said, "Hey, let's add a dramatic effect. How about he walks towards him slowly and silently with no noise in the background, and then he hugs him." And I'm thinking to myself, 20 or 30 seconds of, because what that was supposed to be meant for was meant for a fucking pop. A pop that couldn't, you know what I mean?
That makes sense too.
I was angry. You know what I did? I freaking changed the channel and I freaking back to IWTV.
Look, brother, let me get my pop, brother. You know?
Yeah, let me get my pop. Fucking I'm just glad they're not doing that shit anymore that much. I mean, they still do it in the backstage thing when they're like, when Charlie Caruso's interviewing Drew McIntyre or whoever else backstage. You know what I mean? Let me at this time, Rollins, and then they go
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, 4, 5. Okay, cool. Got my pop, brother.
Seth, you're gonna be challenging. I go like this. I slap my fucking head every time I see that. Because I was like, what the fuck?
Look, brother, let me get my pop, brother.
Yeah, let me get my pop. A pop that ain't fucking there. That's why I said they need a pop with fucking balls. But anyway.
I mean, there's family members of friends, apparently, that don't get paid to sit there or stand for 7 hours or 8. No food catering either. I mean, allegedly.
Yeah, that's chicken shit. I heard Nikki Cross helps him out though. She fucking bought them pizza and all that shit, and helped everyone out. She's cool. I can tell. So now that we're thinking about this, because what pissed me off about the allegations the most was when Joey Ryan, the Joey Ryan thing.
Seth Rollins, he got accused.
No, not Seth Rollins. No, he's on my TV screen right now. They're doing a little thing with Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic. So, but no, the Joey Ryan thing pissed me off a lot because I mean, let's look at it this way: the gimmick was kind of a giveaway. Yeah, we get that, but I thought nobody gave a shit. I didn't think anybody would give a shit about that with his dong style and all that crap, and slamming people with his dick and all that. And I mean, we thought it was just a gimmick, but it turned out it was a real fucking deal.
Yeah, because he's actually admitted to some of it, not like specifically, but he went on Twitter and pretty much did the guilty not guilty message. And Joey Ryan has, he's been living off this overly sexualized wrestler / comedian, grab my dick, let me flip you over, let me get my pop, brother, for years. What? Yeah, for years and years. And
I admit it. Right. I've seen it. I've seen the gimmick 3 years ago. And, I took a few pictures with him, and...
You didn't grab his dong, right?
No.
Okay.
I didn't.
not the dong.
No. I just took a selfie with him once, and then the other time I
Did he ask you to grab his dong?
No.
Okay.
No, he didn't do that.
Okay, let me ask you one more question.
Go ahead.
Was there like a extra bit of money to grab his dong? Like, okay, say the picture is $25, right? To grab the dong is another $25. I never had that type of interaction with him. It was just basic, meet and greet type shit, like we do with the PCW shows, It was just basic. Absolutely.
Yeah, he was just, it was just the typical, the typical, hey, take a picture with me and all that shit, and
absolutely,
just the normal meet and greet, sign up for an autograph, signing poster, and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? It was that. So, it was fine. There's nothing odd or nothing too unusual. It's just it's just taking a picture. I shook his hand numerous times too. You know, even at the last show I went to, which was back in February, and in Pomona, he wasn't even like that at all. He was engaging. He was cool with me. I mean, I never had any issues with him.
No, but the whole thing with Joey Ryan is that he's been doing it with wrestlers. You know, he's been, he's just been crossing the line, and it doesn't kind of surprise me for what the type of character he portrays himself as. You know, overly sexualized. You know, oh, here's my dick grabbing. I can see a person like that take liberties with people's how comfortable they can be. You know, he's. I feel like he's that type of person that just kind of tells you upright, hey, you know, let's fuck, or hey, I got my dick out or something. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's the case with Joey Ryan, and it doesn't surprise me that, you know.
You could never know in situations like this that, you know, that these things can and will, or possibly could happen, and you know that what you never know what could happen back there. Because what it looks like, you know, because what they're doing is they're characters, obviously, inside that ring, and then when they start in a wrestling match, they're doing what they do best, but we don't know what's going on backstage, so you just never know. You know, it just bums me out a bit because bar wrestling was I liked it the 2 times I went to bar wrestling. It was really cool, and it was sad that now that the promotion's been shut down now because of that, and the fact that the whole situation involved is just bad all around. You know, it's not cool. But
not cool for sure.
Yeah, it's not really that. It's bad all around. But I think what we could do is, you know, as wrestling fans, I think we could just keep supporting the independent wrestlers because they're always going to be talent all around. You know what I mean? And you know, there's going to be people out there that actually want professional wrestling to exceed. There's going to be people out there that are going to do the thing. They're going to have the kick-ass matches. They're going to work hard. And the men and women out there, you know, they're going to get along because if you notice, a lot of them are very approachable, and you know that they are.
I feel like in this case, you got to support people that have been calling out the abusers. At this point, Joey Ryan could fuck off, you know. He's a big disgrace. Joey Janela called him out for what he was, and apparently Joey Janela knows a lot more, you know, what Joey Ryan has done, and he's hinted at what type of piece of shit he is. And I don't care if bar wrestling is not, you know, not live anymore. You know, there's plenty of better indie organizations anyways. I mentioned PCW Ultra in California. They're way better. And if bar wrestling doesn't open up, then so be it. You know, Joey Ryan needs to learn, you know, you got to treat people the right way. You kind of portray himself as you know, I called him you know, grab my dick, fucking overly sexualized, but he also portrays himself as like this happy-go-lucky, like sweet guy that, you know, takes care of the business and stands up for people. But you know, it's disgusting what they do behind the scenes. You hinted at that too. They're characters, and we don't know what they might do in their real lives. But sometimes you can't blur the line. You know, Joey Ryan's an overly sexualized character in the wrestling profession, and Joey Ryan, the human being, the actual person, is overly sexualized himself too. You know, sometimes you can't blur the lines of. And I feel like Joey Ryan, that's him. He, you know, he's playing a character that he truly lives. And these allegations,
that's what happened.
And these allegations are proving him what he is. And so I don't care about bar wrestling. I would hope whoever he partners up with, he sells his shares and just leaves bar wrestling if he wants to continue bar wrestling, because that's what needs to happen. What needs to happen is that Joey Ryan needs to sell his shares of bar wrestling. He needs to apologize to his victims, and we as wrestling fans, we need to support those who have been calling out the abusers. Another wrestler that we enjoy watching at PCW Ultra is TJ Perkins, and he's came out and shared his story as a man.
Right.
That's super hard to do, because we as men, we're always looked at as, oh, we're strong, or
we're the masculine ones. We're the masculine ones. That's what they always say. But
there's a double standard. There's also a double standard of, if we get sexually abused, like, oh, that's cool for us. Like, hell yeah, pat me in the back. You're the man for this one. Like, oh yeah, you conquered another one. It's stupid.
Right, exactly. And I actually appreciated what TJ Perkins shared, because
absolutely.
That just goes to show you. See, not only women are victimized, but apparently also men have been victimized by this shit. And there's some dirty politicians out there that like to fucking do some horrible things to people. And that's why I always think about, even not just politicians in wrestling in the backstage, but also like in all aspects of life. And these politicians, even in the government, I talk shit, because they all have dirt. They're all full of shit, one with another. But I'm getting sidetracked by that. So before I let you go, who do you think is going to be a future talent, since we're talking about indie wrestling? Who do you think is actually, I got two more questions actually for you.
All right, brother.
Right now, who do you think is the future of professional wrestling right now at this time in the moment?
Easy. Alexander Hammerstone.
Oh yeah, I agree.
He is the man, dude. He's gonna win that MLW title.
Oh yeah.
That dude is super talented. I really like his work with Dynasty. I really like his work in MLW. I really like his work in PCW Ultra. I was lucky enough to meet him. Sadly enough, I wasn't able to take a picture. I regret that. But I was able to shake his hand. I know you did.
He's one of my cousin pictures, I think. That's what it is.
It's going to suck, because...
I can thank the Rambling Alcoholics podcast for putting that picture of me and Hammerstone up on there with them. So
that's super cool.
That's how they advertise my guest appearance. So, but if I want to give shout out to them though, because those guys are really cool, and they like wrestling too, but they also like drinking up a couple of cold ones too while they're at it. So
that's all.
So easy to get along with.
That's all me. Yeah, you know us, bro. We like to drink too, Like,
I suggest you check them out on Spotify too. Check them out on Spotify too. They're actually really awesome. So,
who is it again?
The Rambling Alcoholics podcast.
I got to check them out. I was
a guest on their show, Two Youths.
That's super dope. But Hammerstone, my friend, Hammerstone is probably my choice of an indie talent to really check out. Here in the States, there's talent all over the world. But my first choice would be Hammerstone. That dude just looks like $1 million. He could talk. He could wrestle. He has it all, pretty much. And hopefully in 2021, things keep continuing on. More success to him.
Yeah, I like Alexander Hammerstone. He's one of my top tier. But Jacob Fatu really impresses me.
Jacob, yeah, that's
for a guy that weighs 300 pounds. It's unnatural for a guy that weighs that much to move that quick. You know what I mean?
They're they're gonna have the Contra anthology on MLW next week, so I'm gonna be watching
I want to check that out.
Contra unit. So yeah, Jacob's that dude's crazy talented. Remember when he did that big splash on the cage match?
Yeah, that was crazy. Insane. That was insane when we went there and saw that shit. That was one of the
PCW Ultra.
That was awesome. That had to be match of 2020 so far.
Yeah, that you were lucky enough to watch it.
It was brutal. It was excellent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It had everything that in a wrestling match and a brawl. So that had lots of crazy shit. So that's the first question. The second question would be, what do you think WWE should do in order to up the ante on their storylines? And do you think they could be able to? I guess it's a two-part question. Do you think they could actually catch up to AEW at some point in time?
I'm gonna answer that AEW. I feel like AEW needs to catch up to them, but in a sense of being known, being all that heavily exposure. I don't feel like WWE per se needs to be worried about them. I know that some people would say that their storylines are way better in AEW, and I would say so as well, because I feel it's very bland. I'm uninterested in what's happening right now with WWE. I'm interested in NXT, but that's the same umbrella but different thing.
Right.
And what WWE needs to do to fix their storylines or up the ante, I would suggest hiring people that actually like wrestling. That's such a weird thing to say, but I don't feel like the WWE actually it's really in the know of like creative minds, of choosing creative wrestling minds. I know Gabe Sapolsky is a free agent. I'm not sure what he does. I know they had their partnership with Evolve, but I would say putting Gabe into one of the writing roles, I think, why not? At this point, it's not going to get as bad as it is right now. It's been bad for years.
Yeah,
I haven't watched that shit for years. Raw. I sometimes watch SmackDown now because it's like on TV, and I'll just flip the channel. So I'll watch it from here to there. That Daniel Bryan versus the AJ Styles match was fantastic.
I agree. It was fantastic. Yeah. But for some reason, like I think I rated it 7.5 or 8. But it was
too low, brother.
You think it was too low?
I would say 0.5, 9 to me. But
okay. Well, here's the reason why I say that. The reason why I say that is because it's just that it needed to be like. I know they're handicapped with the fact that the pandemic's still going on, and we don't know when the fuck this is going to end. But I know the fact that it was a great fucking match, and they put off all the stops. Yes, I am aware of that. But for some reason, I just didn't feel it. Like there was something missing regarding that. And I know it was a tournament match, but I just I'll give them both credit. They definitely tore the house down. That was match of the night in that show. But
that's like one of the best matches so far in WWE. Like, what other better matches was there?
Well, because I've just seen like more elements of excitement that was. It was physical as shit. I'll give them credit, but like there's something in there was missing, the element that because ever since I've seen that Adam Cole Johnny Gargano 2 out of 3 falls match, ever since then I felt like that has been the pedestal of standard, because that match was a masterpiece. And not only that, but it had every element, and I guess because missing a real life crowd kind of kills it for me. Right. So, that's the missing element. The crowd's gonna be. I don't know if the developmental is either told what to do and told how to cheer, or they're doing it on their own merits. So I just really am not sure. But to be honest with you, like I just wish that the crowd would have gotten the response to that. That would have been a 9 or 9.5. About the same rating I gave to the quote unquote greatest wrestling match ever.
The crowd reaction was.
What'd you think of that? The Edge
greatest
match.
It was not the greatest match ever. Well, was it a terrific match? Yeah, I would say it's one of the best WWE matches it has in 2020. I agree. That was the greatest match ever. You know? No, come on, the greatest. Some people would say Hogan versus Warrior. You know.
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Or Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, or
The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. You know, like
Stone Cold versus The Rock. Triple H. What is it? I was gonna say Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels back at WrestleMania 21. I was gonna say Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle. I would say.
You can't say that name, dude. You can't say that.
Oh, I can't say that. This is my fucking podcast, man. We'll just adjust the name. We'll call it CRISPENWAH.
We gotta spell it out, you know.
Yeah.
We gotta spell out.
Okay. But they might have something to say about that. John Cena and CM Punk might have something to say about that.
Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Seth Rollins and John Cena and Brock Lesnar might have something to say about that.
I don't know why. I don't know why they needed that title. You know, that greatest match ever. Even Edge came out in the interview saying like it was kind of not needed. You know, like why do you even like? Why did Vince do that? You know, it's kind of
they act like fucking pricks. You know what I mean? You don't advertise someone because. All right, I'm gonna tell you this real quick before I go. It's probably gonna be a nice little 5-10 minutes. When I was at the WWE Friday Night SmackDown premiere on Fox, they advertised a lot of legends to appear. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they advertised that Stone Cold Steve Austin was going to be there in person, and then they advertised that The Undertaker was be there in person. They never did. They never showed up. I mean, The Rock came out. Yeah, that was cool. Calling King Corbin a broke ass Burger King on crack. You know what I mean? He still had. He's like. The Rock and the Man and Cracky. Well, Ruben, I appreciate you being down here, and I appreciate you being live with me. It's really cool, and hopefully do this again soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, man. Take it easy, man.
So that was the interview with Ruben Juarez, a.k.a. Soulfulclouds. He's a great guy. He's a great He does some cool stuff on his Instagram. I just check it out every now and then. Give him a follow. In Instagram, his username is Soulfulclouds. So give him a follow and say what's up to him. He's definitely a good guy. I've known that guy since 4th grade, since my childhood. That was during the peak of the Attitude Era, when we were interested in watching wrestling. So it's definitely great to see him again. All right, so main event story, and it's funny because after the interview, we decided to review Monday Night Raw, and I got to be honest with you, I'm actually surprised about this episode. This episode was actually not bad. I actually thought it was good. Actually. They stepped their game up slightly, even though the storyline is still pretty stupid. But stupid as stupid does. So let's see what happens here. Okay. So anyway, let's start with how the show starts. It's Drew McIntyre comes out. He's all been buttoned up in pants and all that shit. So he's dressed up. Doesn't look like he's gonna have a match. So, okay. Well, he's being himself, dressed up in regular pedestrian clothing, business clothing, so to say, kind of. Here comes Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler is interrupting him. Ziggler's man bun is right there, as you can see if you saw the episode. He was here to surprise Drew, he says, and AJ has been traded to SmackDown. In return, he gets Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. So there you go. We got another tag team on Monday Night Raw. Ziggler says no one is happy to see Drew as champion, and he would hate to see Ziggler lose the title before he got what he was owed. Okay, hold on. Now, I noticed that most of what I'm going to talk about in this episode is actually pretty positive, but I am not really into Dolph Ziggler, to tell you the truth. I mean, I don't have any hatred towards him. I don't think because I think his wrestling ability is very good. I mean, he kind of, I can't, he's not no Shawn Michaels, but he's at least like very skillful in the ring to, at least to be noticeable, to give some great matches out there. And he's been into some 4-star matches, so to say, or at least I rank him in numbers. So I rank him in numbers, and some of his matches are like 7.5, 8s, 8.5s. It's really good. I remember that's the match he had with Seth Rollins, and it was an Iron Man match. It was a 30-minute match. That was good. I mean, I didn't like the show. WWE Extreme Rule. I didn't like the show because I felt that if the Extreme Rule stipulation of the show, the whole gimmick of the whole entire event, was not lived up to its name. So I said, fuck that show, except for Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins, even though there was like people alienated the match because they started mimicking the countdown. That's how fucking pissed off they got. And to tell you the truth, I really don't blame them. So anyway, long story short, I'll talk about Extreme Rules some other time. In the meantime, Dolph Ziggler is acting like an entitled little bitch, and Drew McIntyre is gonna fucking challenge him at Extreme Rules. So I guess Dolph is owed a title shot. A title opportunity. Fuck you, Vince. Anyway, so Dolph is owed a title match. He says he wants it at Extreme Rules. He gets it. Okay, yada, yada, yada. I didn't really care for this segment. Whatever. I yawned at this fucking shit. Speaking of yawns, here comes Nia Jax coming out, and commentary claims that she isn't scheduled. So here she goes, enters the ring, gets a chair, and then takes a seat in the middle of the damn... Okay, here comes R-Truth. She starts talking shit about a biased referee, that Nia was cheated at Backlash, then again last week. Here comes R-Truth. Here. Nia's confused. Is it supposed to have a match with Akira Tozawa of the Ninja Clan? God, I don't know. Why did they give him this fucking gimmick? That's appalling. Ninjas are cool, but I mean, like, did he actually agree to this? That's what I fucking question. Anyway, Nia is the real Akira Tozawa. Oh, God. What the fuck? Nia... Why does he say that? Anyway, Nia takes offense. She's not in the mood. And Truth said he's not in the mood to be okie doke. Akira is, by commentary, humping the back of the chair when Rocky, Colt, and Tom circle the ring. Whatever the fuck. Ugh. So then he leaves. So then R-Truth leaves because he's get chased by the damn ninjas, and starts a little bit of calamity, and then starts a little wild goose chase. Nia gets pissed. She says she ain't leaving the chair until Charlotte Flair comes out. Charlotte questioned and said that Nia squandered her last 2 title matches. She dropped the ball. She didn't get her way, and now she's throwing a hissy fit. So there you go. And Nia says Charlotte gets what she wants because her daddy's Ric Flair. And Charlotte is, saying that she makes a stagehand for holding the ropes, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's because she asked for someone to fucking pick up the rope. What the fuck? But anyway, she says she's the queen, so that's her gimmick. Nia calls her delusional. Flair says she is, yet it was her dad who ended Asuka's streak, and bragging that her dad beat Asuka twice last month, blah, blah, blah. So then they start getting into a fucking brawl, and then they start fighting back. So here come the referees, and they have a big pull apart going on. So Charlotte hurt her left arm when Nia attacked. And then during this little kerfuffle. So anyway, here we go backstage. The Street Profits say tonight ends the series between them and the Viking Raiders, and it all comes down to the title match. The Viking Raiders need to know that Eric comes in and says he heard his name talking. He was going to start talking shit, I guess. But then he said, "No, they aren't for life. They are forever." Okay, they became friends through all this. But come match time, we will defend that. They'll do whatever it takes to get that W. Viking Raiders say there's nothing that's going to stop them from getting their gold back. And they said to bring the smoke. Okay, fam. All right. Now we go. And meanwhile, before they went to commercial break, Selena Vega comes out and she starts pondering. So that means she's up to something. Now, I must say, the first match of the night, WWE Raw Tag Team Championship match, the Street Profits taking on the Viking Raiders. Now, let me remind you guys, this episode of Raw is already 35 fucking minutes in. We haven't even had a match. We had 2 or 3 promos hitting and starting up the show. Teasing a little bit of fighting sequences here. So, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking here. It's just downright dumb, stupid. Why are they fucking dragging this shit along? Let's have a fucking match. And let me remind everyone out there, this is a 3-hour fucking show. Once again, 3 motherfucking hours. So it's like, come on, guys. What are you guys fucking doing over there? Okay, so finally our first match for the Raw Tag Team Championship. So Ibar and Angelo Dawkins start. And then they have rope work with Dawkins, and they started boosting each other up. And then they smash shoulders in the center of the ring. Then Ibar dodges a kick, hits one in the face, and, you know, what? It started physically, and you know, I liked how when Ivar tagged in Eric, and then he whipped Dawkins in, hits a hard right, tags to Ford. Montez Ford starts jumping in the ring, hits the ropes, hops over Eric, flips over and hops again. It was like, and then he flips over, hops one more time, and then drop kicks to Eric. I was like, damn. Yeah, no, this was very good. I mean, the guy fucking got skill. Montez Ford. If this guy ever were to break up with the street with Angelo Dawkins, I bet you anything this guy could be a great singles wrestler. Okay, so got a couple of sequences of them diving over the top rope, maybe like a couple of knockdowns here and there. Then Dawkins get a running power bomb. We go to commercial break, and then we head back, and we come back from commercial break, and these guys are just straight out whipping each other into the corner and start punching and kicking. And then once, like midway towards the match, there was a drop kick by Ibar, and then a bulldog to Eric. You know, it was switching back and forth with the momentum. A tag in from Angelo Dawkins to Montez Ford. Then Ford came in. Dawkins holds up Ibar, and then the Viking experience on the Street Profits. Ibar breaks the pin at a 2 count. This was a good fucking match. I mean, I was surprised, to be honest, because look at how this matchup worked out. It's a Monday Night Raw episode. There's not really much build up into Extreme Rules yet. Because this shit, fuck, I don't know why this shit drags along for the most part. But they don't start announcing matches until 2 weeks before the pay-per-view. But we finally had our answer a couple of weeks before. So now, you know, we know at least we know what 2 or 3 of the matches are 4 weeks ahead of time. But they still got to fill out the rest of the card. So anyway, at the end of the match, there was a cartwheel from Ford. Then Ibar does the same thing. Then an enziguri to Ibar, which was impressive. A big boot to Ford. Then a tag in from Dawkins to Dawkins. He tagged in, and then Ivar tagged into Eric. So they both got double tags. Eric had a cartwheel, and then Dawkins does a cartwheel again. And then all 4 men start fighting. They're all fucking fighting each other, cartwheeling, all that. Eric starts lifting Dawkins sideways. Then Ibar sits on Ford. Then Ford on the Dawkins. Then Eric lifts, slams him down, tags in Ibar. He heads to the top rope. Then splash. But he missed. He gives a fucking splash of the top rope. Then he missed. Then all of a sudden, cash out from the Dawkins. 1, 2, 3. The match is over. Street Profits retain the titles. And you know what? I got to say, for a match that lasted about 9 minutes, I have to say that it was mightily impressive to see how good that these two teams really are. And you know what? As far as like the Raw division, the Raw tag team division is concerned, which you could barely muster any names. I mean, besides Street Profits, and because another thing, Vince McMahon hates tag teams, a fucking asshole. This was a sprint match, lasted only 9 minutes or so, but this one was non-stop. They kept fucking fighting. This had a level pace that kept going and going and going, and you know, I was incredibly impressed by it. I actually liked the match. And I liked it a lot. So 8 out of 10 for these guys. Call me crazy to say that, oh, you're rating a Raw match an 8 out of 10? Well, then I must be crazy because apparently I liked it. So why did I enjoy it so much? But I really liked the hell out of it. I mean, there was nice pacing. It was very good. There was hardly any momentum swings left and right. Anytime they had a momentum, the pendulum swings the other direction. So there you go. So the Viking Raiders hug the Profits, and all 4 raise their hands in victory. And then just when they're about to celebrate, here comes Andrade and Garza. So they beat down the Profits a bit until the Viking Raiders would save them. And that might be the tag team to add into the mix. So I think Angel Garza and Andrade, they might have something going on with them here. So we'll see. Backstage, Seth Rollins is staring into nothingness. He's probably spaced out like he's fucking smoked a joint or some shit. Seth stops them because his disciples come in and says, "Hey, you know what? We have a thing." He's like, "No. I got the message, and it'll be revealed." So then they go to commercial break. And they come back from commercial break, and they go back to Seth's same face. He says, "Sometimes in life, we are destined for roles beyond our choices. He didn't choose to be a Messiah, just like Ray didn't choose to be a sacrifice. Seth has embraced and accepted his role in the greater good, while Ray has been defiant, and defiance breeds suffering. The saddest part in all of this, that he's allowed his son to get involved. Seth wants him to know that whatever becomes of Ray or his son, from this moment forward, that is on Ray. Guilt Ray will have to harbor, because the greater good is coming for all of us, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. He's heard it said that legends never die, but they sure as hell can outlive their welcome." Wow. I start spacing out and it's all about me. That's deep. That fucking gimmick is so fucking cheesy with that fucking the false prophet bullshit that he's doing. Monday Night Messiah. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. It's fucking ignorant. Okay. So Charlotte is with Charlie backstage. It's another one of these. With me at this time, Charlotte. Well, at least there was a bit of a response, somewhat. Anyway, her arm is taped up, and she said it'll be just fine holding up the title. Charlotte just walks away. Charlie then notices Selena out of view, and she walks up to because I guess she was talking to Angel and Andrade. But she says hello to Angel and Andrade, but not Selena. She said it was surprising seeing the two act like a unit. But what prompted the attack? And Garza says when you know what you want, you have to be willing to take risks. It's like being with a beautiful woman. He gets super sexy with the adoring Charlie. Ciao. Anyway, Selena then interrupts and says that we all need to know that we're all looking at a united front. No, since when did I thought there was Ascension a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, I guess that shit's been dead and buried. Basically, what they're trying to say is they're trying to get at the Raw Tag Team title. So they're putting their names in the mix. So we got a picture of Asuka heading to the ring, and here she comes, which we already know. The Raw Women's Championship is coming up next. So here we go. Asuka and Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is a bit handicapped on this match because she had messed up her arm by Nia Jax. Nia Jax is the one that beat her up. And so this match starts out well. She started stomping Asuka. And then Asuka was able to work on the arm immediately, so she knew that was a weak point. So once that happened, Asuka grabbed her arm and then she hung her up to dry, and then Asuka with a running kick off the apron, because she's very aggressive in this match, and Charlotte did whatever she can. She tried to move around, and Asuka, she tried to get Asuka tried to get a drop kick off the apron, but then Charlotte moved out of the way. And midway towards the matchup, there was a couple near falls in this one. There was a kick to Asuka one time, and she rolled Asuka into the ring and covered up 1, 2. Nope, near fall. Charlotte with a kip up after hitting Asuka with a knee. Charlotte then went to the top rope and she looked for a moonsault because, like I said before, and I'll say it again, I don't ever recall seeing Asuka and Charlotte Flair have a bad match. They've always put out really good matches. I mean, spot on, kick-ass matches. I mean, there was one match. I mean, the first time was at WrestleMania 34. It was the one in New Orleans in 2018. When Asuka had that match against Charlotte Flair, she did an incredible job. In that match, I rated that an 8.5 out of 10. That was one of the top matches of the night. I think because Charlotte Flair knows how to work physically inside the ring, and so does Asuka. She has the Japanese strong style. So she's like a fucking badass inside the ring. She could kick anyone's ass in there for that, or all I see. The second time they fought was it was on a SmackDown episode. It was leading up to WrestleMania 35. That I did not understand. However, I liked the match. I just hated the result, and that kind of fucking pissed me off. It wasn't as good as their WrestleMania match, but it was still fucking good. It was physical. It had a lot of wrestling, and it was a good, nice pace, and the crowd was into it. But here's what killed it. What killed me for the fact that I got pissed. Charlotte beat Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. That was not necessary. And that was a Vince McMahon call. And the only reason why that even happened was because oh, well, I'm going to make this the first ever women's main event ever at a WrestleMania. From last year's WrestleMania 35, the first instinct was, well, if the Raw Women's Championship is going to be on the line, so is a SmackDown Women's Championship. It's going to lead to much more importance. Whoever wins it between Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch, well, this is going to add some suspense into the match. This is such good shit. No, you're the shit, McMahon. Shut up. Anyway, so back to this match. The last couple of matches, they've been okay. Not as good as the first two meetings. But these, and by the way, all of them resulted in Charlotte Flair winning. So she's beaten Asuka all these times. But that was about to change. A little bit towards the end of the match, Asuka tried to break it. She got the fingers locked because they had like a bit of a submission match going on. And Asuka moved in, and then Charlotte hits the buckle. Then Asuka got the arm bar, and she switches to the other arm, and then Charlotte has her fingers locked. Asuka tried to break it. Charlotte reached for the ropes, and she gets it, and then Asuka ups. Charlotte gets a spear, covers 1-2, nope, near fall. Charlotte then drags Asuka to the center of the ring, and she spins inside cradle from Asuka, near fall, arm bar immediately. Charlotte is trying to escape, but then Asuka gets the choke in a modified triangle, which looked like a pretty sick submission maneuver that Asuka did. So then Charlotte lifts, then sits out a powerbomb, but Asuka locks in the Asuka lock right after, and then Charlotte Flair tapped out. Wow is the word of the day. I was amazed by this result. But then again, I mean, once again, Charlotte Flair had a handicap because her arm was messed up by Nia Jax, who was watching backstage, by the way. Raw is 2 for 2. I can't believe I'm saying that, but Raw is actually 2 for 2. I'm actually impressed by these two matches. This was also an 8 out of 10. I am super fucking impressed. So I liked how they had this match. It didn't let up, but it focused on strengths of each other, both Asuka and Charlotte. The arm injury didn't make Asuka look weak, but it made her look smart. You know, she was like an intelligent battler. She was like an intelligent warrior. You know what I mean? And Charlotte losing, that could make her more humble, if you know what I mean. At least Nia had nothing to do with the outcome, so that didn't have nothing. And then Charlie is backstage right after Nia Jax is watching that. She asked Nia if what she did to Charlotte had anything to do with the outcome of the match. Nia says it would be a real shame for someone to kick the queen while she's down. So anyway, after that little segment, I got a video package of Randy's dastardly deeds, of course, and then Edge talks about is seated down in the ring to talk about his future. He said Orton tore his tricep and then kicked out, but kept on fighting. Blah blah blah. But you know what though? To be fair, this was a really good promo, really nicely done, and you know, it vowed for him, you know, to say that how can Randy Orton claim to himself as the greatest wrestler ever if the way he beaten him was a low blow and then a punt to the head? You know what I mean? Calling himself the greatest wrestler ever. Shout it, put it on a shirt, who cares? Whatever he needed to do. Because beating Edge with that means that much in Orton's world. In Edge's world, beating Orton is what he expects. So he's disappointed he didn't see the low blow coming, or that he didn't do it first. So he talks shit about how Christian couldn't wrestle, and then he fucking he put him in a vulnerable spot, and he questioned him about him beating him up while he was vulnerable and shit. Now he said that he doesn't care anymore about winning a wrestling match now. He said he's going to embarrass Orton, emasculate him, make him wish Cowboy Bob was firing blanks on the night Orton was conceived. Wow, that was fucking deep. He said he woke up and then get some sleep, Randy, while you can. So Orton has a response, and then he says, do you know what a snake does when feels threatened? It bites, it strikes, wildly, sometimes blindly. It will do what Mother Nature intended it. It will do what it has to do to survive. So basically what he's trying to say, that, you know, anybody that fucks with me, you have no idea what you got coming to you. And that's what it basically stands for. So, good. It was a good promo on both. I can't believe I'm fucking saying that, but it is actually fucking true. And, you know, the Edge cutting a massive promo on Randy Orton. Randy Orton trying to coming a counter promo, you know, with Charlie Caruso. And, you know, I thought to myself, man, by the time these guys face each other off again, something is got to give in the future. But we'll have to wait and find out. So anyway, Charlie decided to find Charlotte, and she is not happy with what happened. Targeting her arm is the only way Asuka won. And then here comes Nia Jax attacking her, sending her into the post of the practice ring. She slams the door on the laundry basket on her arm and basically destroyed Charlotte Flair. So anyway, basically this is a significant thing. There's a storyline injury here, just like Edge, that Charlotte Flair has a messed up arm and some shit. So this is basically cutting her off from this point on. Okay, so R-Truth versus Akira Tozawa for the 24/7 title. Lashley comes out to squash all of Lord Zed's fucking putties. Because that's what I think of ever see this fucking. It was some Power Ranger shit with the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits. What the fuck? But anyway, Lashley beats the shit out of all the ninjas. Akira rolls under the ring, hides from MVP and Lashley. So they started entering the ring. Lashley locks the full Nelson on Truth, ragdolls the shit out of him. Lashley and MVP leave. Tozawa realizes Truth is out, so he runs into the ring and covers him 1, 2, 3. Akira Tozawa is the new 24/7 champion, and guess what? I don't give a fuck. The 24/7 championship has either been defended at the venue, or at least it hasn't been in a while. We've seen that one post once what's his name? Fucking Rob Gronkowski, the stupid fuck that he is. Yes, I call him a stupid fuck. I don't give a shit about him. Anyway, so when he lost the title to R-Truth, you know, during an episode of SmackDown where they fucking cock teased of him doing a training regimen or some shit, that's when R-Truth fucking pinned him in 1, 2, 3. Good fucking riddance. But I'm like, there's hardly any. They don't fucking fight at a Chuck E. Cheese. They don't fight at a supermarket. They don't fight at a fucking church. They don't fight at a damn training facility. They don't train at. They don't fight. They don't fight in a crazy venue somewhere. They don't even fight in a river or whatever the hell. They're not as creative as they were back in the Attitude Era when they were fighting all over the place for the hardcore title when it was 24/7 rules. And that was unique. That was crazy. That was a lot of fun. This here is not. It's a load of shit. And I really could care fucking less. So, in that mind, whatever. Whoever wins the title, congratulations, but I don't give a fuck. It's a low point as far as titles are concerned. Okay, so speaking of not giving a shit, here comes Natalya, and I got nothing against Natalya. I think she's fantastic, but she's a natural athlete. She's a veteran to the women's division. You know, she says she feels bad about Charlotte's arm, but she says the women's locker room needs a leader. Asuka is not that leader, she says. So Sarah dropped the ball. And she could have scheduled an interview with Natty. She'd love to elaborate, so she'll have to wait for her match next. So then Natty comes out and here comes Lana right behind her. So now Lana is managing Natalya. So Natalya against Liv Morgan. Oh, and this is the third match, by the way. I did not count the R-Truth and Akira Tozawa because that was not a fucking match. Technically, it wasn't. It never got underway, so it didn't fucking happen. Nothing is going to be said or mentioned about that again. So, Liv Morgan versus Natalya. Natty gets a discus clothesline immediately, almost like a backhand, a spinning back fist. Gets a near fall right away. What makes you think that's going to do the damage? But anyway, I'm not gonna be a dick about it. So basically, Natty just basically beat the shit out of Liv Morgan pretty much. There was only one point in the match where when Liv grabbed the ropes and she elbowed, then flipped onto the apron, then she gave a shoulder to the gut of Natalya, and then she left the ring. Liv is able to get the upper hand, sends Natty into the ringside area or whatever, and Lana walks by to point at Liv, and then before you know it, Natty clips her leg. She drags Liv onto the ring and then locks in the sharpshooter, and she wins 1, 2, 3. And let me tell you, Natalya is fantastic. No doubt about it. The daughter of Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and she is just wonderful. You know, she's just talented. She knows what she's doing inside that ring. She has it all. But she needs better. She's a little pick-me-up from the character for her gimmick a little bit. You know what I mean? Well, and then teaming her up with Lana, just I don't know. I just don't know. I don't see it. I mean, I'm not a like. What is beating and squashing Liv Morgan gonna do? I mean, Liv Morgan is her gimmick is basically growing and changing Liv Morgan. But I don't know. I don't know what to see with this woman. I mean, she's growing. I mean, what I mean by growing, I meant like as a gimmick and as a talent. So she's growing. She's doing better and better. But she's put in these frivolous matches that are just, I'm sorry, but they're just fucking stupid. And she either gets the upper hand or she gets squashed. So make up your fucking mind. How are you going to book her? Anyway, so here we go with Ric Flair. Heads to the ring to see if he could. We're giving Ric Flair some mic time, so that's interesting. He says earlier tonight Charlotte was injured, and when she comes back, Nia Jax will wish she worked and lived elsewhere. She don't care how big of a bad of a man Nia is. Did he just call Nia Jax a man? What the fuck? I fucking, you know. Oh man, and I know Ric Flair talks a lot of shit when he's given a microphone, because he's either styling or profiling and shit, or if not, then he's fucking talking out of his ass and saying all kinds of shit when he's pissed off. Oh man, how ironic that they let him do this shit. I mean, this 70-something-year-old, I mean, he is one of the true pioneers in professional wrestling. But at the same time, man, you know, they gave him a mic. He's going to say what he thinks. And apparently, this was a major fucking botch. Anyway, so Flair calls Orton out and then he's, you know, saying that he is the greatest wrestler ever. That's debatable. He punted both Edge and Christian into retirement. Orton is the best. Flair wants to tell him in front of millions of people watching. I say about 1.9 million. Thank you. Flair calls him both dominant, vicious, and gives him the best performer. I'm sorry, I just can't stop thinking about that. Half of Evolution right here. Yeah, it was. Oh, man. So, anyway, after all this shit of praise, of being called the greatest wrestler ever, here comes the Big Show. He's angry, big, and a giant that he is. And a pissed off giant at that. He will not let Orton glorify what he did. So he said he'll make Orton pay. What does that mean? Because one pissed off giant, Edge is not even done. So he's going to come back. But he won't be able to get the satisfaction of taking Orton out alone, because this pissed off giant is going to break every bone in Orton's body. Ooh, so there you go. We're gonna have a match here, aren't we? So, so I guess what happened is Orton says it would be tragic for Show to suffer the same fate as E and C, Edge and Christian, and then Show just chuckles and says, "Let's go, square up, and let's fight. Come on, not to run." And then Orton runs like a little bitch. I notice he always does that shit in a lot of these promos. He's been doing that shit for the past 10 fucking years. But anyway. So Orton gave him a chance. No longer are they friends. Look at what Orton has done. Orton is more focused and motivated. And what happens next is on Orton. So Orton and Flair leave. And the Show is pissed. Big Show is pissed. Okay. So, next match. We finally have another match. WWE Women's Tag Team Championship between Sasha Banks, Bayley, and the Iconics. So here we go. Billie Kay and Sasha Banks start the match, and starts off with a huge kick to the face of Sasha. Immediately, Billie Kay tries to cover up, but doesn't get it. She tags in Peyton Royce, and Peyton hits the ropes, and then Bayley ended up grabbing her. So, I just find it interesting, the fact that two heel teams are fighting each other. I find it actually fun and interesting. So, this is another surprise for me. Sasha Banks and Bayley, they have really polished up the greenness that they used to have when they first started wrestling and when they first got into the main roster. And in my opinion, I find it pretty fascinating that these two have done a phenomenal job, battling out and holding up, and especially being the first women's tag team champions. It's just mightily impressive. This was a fun match. I really liked it. If you look midway towards the match, and Sasha was there to stop a pin after a near fall happened when Bayley got stuck into a fisherman suplex. Billie Kay got knocked off the apron. Peyton sends Sasha into the outside. Bayley then hits a right to the stomach, and then another one, and then she tries to tag in Sasha Banks. Peyton then holds on, tags to shot. Then Bayley starts tagging into Sasha Banks. A high knee from Sasha again on Peyton Royce. Peyton backs him with a double team, and then a pin for a near fall. Then it was a near fall, but Sasha ended up pulling her hair and then locked up for a suplex. Then she spins for another, and then she goes for a third one to Peyton. So it's like 3 fucking suplexes. I think she was doing a tribute to Eddie Guerrero there. So that was definitely something. Peyton tried to prevent a third one, then sent her into Bayley, but then she rolled up by Peyton and gets a near fall, and I swear I thought the tag team titles were going to switch right there. Sasha and then Peyton continued locked up, and Billie Kay tried to interfere, but then Sasha sent her to the outside. Then a Banks statement, and Peyton Royce tapped out. Sasha Banks and Bayley won this match, even though it was short. It was like a 6-minute, 7-minute match. Someone must have in the back in the back in this episode. Someone said not to let up with the foot on the pedal during every match. The first 2 matches were amazing. This one was kind of short, but this was also good too. I think the Iconics have shown some improvement here. And they did, because they offered a quality style matchup. Doing their heel tactics and doing it very good. And it was kind of a situation where who could do the best who could do the best heel tactics properly. I think they've been killing it lately. So I give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Bayley's on the mic. She says they're good. This is what happens. So Sasha says she has been thinking. She knows Bayley is those straps. And every time she talks about both her titles, Sasha can't help it but to get a little jealous. She loves Bayley to see Bayley happy, but she can't help but wanting to experience that as well. So it was kind of teasing some bit of dissension, I think. But here's what happened. It looked like they were going to. Looks like Sasha Banks was trying to think. Was thinking about actually trying to go for Bayley's SmackDown Women's Championship. That's what it looked like. So she wants a title match. So because of that, at Extreme Rules, she's officially challenging Asuka. So she wants a shot at the Raw Women's Championship. So here comes Asuka. Sasha is thoroughly confused at what Asuka is saying in Japanese, because she goes on a tirade of speaking in Japanese. It sounds like a pissed off anime character, which I love. I like that style. It's fucking interesting. I like it. It's funny too. And so Asuka goes full English on her, saying Sasha is not the boss of her, and she accepts. So then Bayley started attacking her, and then they double team Asuka, but then Asuka fights back until she gets hit with a backstabber into the back statement. So that is a challenge that Sasha Banks is going to battle Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. I guess this is some sort of brand cross-branding right here. Anyway, moving on. Backstage, Lashley is pissed. MVP says he was proud of Apollo last week with his little trick he did. Then Apollo accepted another match with Shelton Benjamin. And MVP realized Apollo has so much to learn. He's hoping Apollo makes the right decision tonight. So they head to the club. And then backstage, Ruby Riott walks up to Liv Morgan. And Liv is just distraught after her loss and says, not tonight. And she says nothing has gone her way, and she doesn't need Ruby making her feel worse. What, are they trying to tease a reunion here? I mean, I don't get it. So we have this little thing here. So we have this little match here of Apollo Crews. Well, first of all, I guess MVP is talking in the ring. So he introduced Apollo Crews. MVP wanted to help Apollo navigate his bad decisions. So MVP has already made the mistakes so that Apollo doesn't have to make them. And Apollo says he's got to the point of his career without any of MVP's help. He appreciates the offer, but the answer is still no. So Apollo then wouldn't be out there listening. Apollo could be one of the greatest. There's no rule that's saying he's got to be out here week after week. Apollo can stay champion for a very long time, but he wouldn't be able to do that without MVP in his corner. So he's still teasing the offer, and before you know it, MVP has been champ about 3 weeks. Tried doing it for 343 days. He likes Apollo, blah, blah, blah. So then Apollo gets in. He said that there won't be. He likes Apollo and tried to do this the nice way twice. There won't be a third time, whether he likes it or not. So then he ends up getting into his fucking face. Out comes Shelton Benjamin. MVP leaves. Shelton comes in and gets in the face of Apollo with a smile on his face. So, what does that mean? Shelton Benjamin part of MVP's little faction? Apollo Crews versus Shelton Benjamin. There's not much to say about this match. It's just a 2-minute match, so that doesn't count. This gets a non-rating, just like the Natalya Liv Morgan match also got a non-rating. But the other 3 matches were superb, so I will give them that. Now, in an ideal world, they could turn this into an addition of Shelton to the stable. So it kind of teased that terminology, but that philosophy into Shelton Benjamin actually joining the MVP's crew, but it didn't happen. So it's a short little fucking match. I don't really give a damn. It's complete trash. The only thing is, I would say in the end is that I took some notes in the end. Clothesline to Shelton Benjamin, sent him to the outside. Shelton flied and hit the ring post. Apollo sent Shelton into the ring and then gave him an enziguri to the back of the head. He lives. Shelton then turns into a sit-out powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. There was a squash. Shelton Benjamin has not done dick ever since he fucking has been brought back to the main roster ever since. Well, in my opinion, this is a job match, so does not get a rating. They try to put the full Nelson on Apollo and drags him around, ragdolls him, whatever. Rey Mysterio is backstage, has a one-eyed mask. Son Dominic comes out and wants to show Seth how the Mysterio family rolls. So then they head to the ring. Dominic's all smiles. Rey tries to lecture him, tries calling him several times last Monday, which is weird. Considering we saw him on the screen not calling anyone. Weird. Not even the most confident father would expect his son to get out of a 3-on-1. But Dominic did, and Rey is proud of him. He's also angry at him because he put himself at risk. He said Mom was worried. Rey knows the risk, and so does Dominic. Rey is pissed for what Seth did. He nearly tried to blind him. Rey knows Dominic is bigger than him, but Rey is still his old man, and no matter how big or strong he gets, Dom will always be Rey's child. So since Dominic fought for Rey, it's time for Rey to fight for Dom. Rey got this one. He needs to get revenge on Seth, and he needs to do it himself, though. Dominic grabs the mic, says that he understands where Rey is coming from, but he's not going anywhere. So Seth, this is what a family looks like, and this family wants a fight. So here comes Seth Rollins, and here comes Murphy. Here comes Austin Theory. And once he got them come out, and Seth dropped to his knees, his disciples were coming. Boom! Here comes Humberto Carrillo and Aleister Black. So they started attacking him until Seth started attacking Aleister Black, and then fucking they trapped Austin Theory, and Murphy ended up trapping Rey Mysterio, and Seth Rollins got Dominic. So then they grab him and they take him towards the steps, and they were going to do the same shit they did to Rey Mysterio and put his eye onto the fucking metal steps. But then here comes Seth getting near. But then here comes Humberto Carrillo and Aleister Black with chairs, and he fucking waffles him with the chair. And they all back up and they start retreating. And this is how we ended Monday Night Raw. Well, quick recap. I enjoyed the first match. That one was an 8 out of 10 between Street Profits and Viking Raiders. This just goes to match quality here. I enjoyed the Raw Women's Championship match. 8 out of 10. I enjoyed that one as well, and I really liked it. So it was very good. There was good motivation there. Akira Tozawa and R-Truth, that shit don't exist because it never fucking happened, and it should have never happened to be fucking to begin with. It should have happened backstage or some shit. Liv Morgan and Talia gets a no rating because that match didn't even last 3 minutes, and it was just pure shit. Liv Morgan jobs. I don't know why, but that's what happened. The Ric Flair Randy Orton Big Show situation is blah. Okay. The Women's Tag Team Championship match between Sasha Banks and Bayley against the Iconics. That one was actually very good too, but I give it a 7.5. If it had a crowd, I think that would have been a better situation. That would have had a better rating. It would have gained at least a point or two. The MVP shit with Lashley, I mean, whatever. I'm whatever with that. Fighting Apollo, trying to recruit Apollo. What's the point of this? I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe you might get a heel turn or some shit. We don't know. So this Apollo Crews Shelton Benjamin match, this was the main event of the fucking show. And it was also no rating because it didn't last not even 2 minutes. Okay, I'm going to give the show a 7. I will grant that the 3 matches that delivered were superb. They were flat awesome to watch. I really enjoyed it. They really stepped up their fucking game finally. They really did what they had to do. They had to fucking put an effort into the show. And that's what I thought about it. So, but the no rating matches kind of dragged the show down. So I give it a 7 out of 10. It could have been an 8 out of 10, but 7 out of 10 because of the no rating matches. That kind of dragged the show down a little. My only complaint was there was too few matches going on in a 3-hour span. This was mostly a promo-based show. So with that in mind, that's my complaint about it. And the promos were only half decent. They weren't even that good. But there were at least the matches kind of kept it going from time to time. So I enjoyed the matches. 7 out of 10 Monday Night Raw. I am surprised. I hope you guys keep it up. I really hope that Vince, well, not Vince. I don't give a fuck about him. I don't give a fuck about Kevin Dunn and Bruce Pritchard. He's another one. He's desirable, but I don't know. I mean, he has a lot to be desired, so we'll have to wait and see. Well, that's it. That'll be it for this week's episode of Real Talk, of Wrestling Enthusiast Real Talk. Next week, I think we'll review an old school show, and it's one that I've been dying to fucking review for a while, but I haven't had the chance to do it. So I might do an old school review next week. It's not really old school. It's a show that happened last year, and it kind of got me thinking because I liked what Ring of Honor and New Japan did at the G1 Supercard last year when they had it at Madison Square Garden, and I loved it. So next week we'll talk about the Ring of Honor G1 New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Supercard from back in 2019, which was last year, of course. And we'll talk about that next week, and I'll tell you exactly what I liked about the show and what matches were actually awesome, what matches were complete shit. But in my opinion, we'll discuss it. So until then, for the wrestling business, of course, we'll see any more news and see what happens between now and next week. But until then, this is Eric Peralta, a.k.a. The Wrestling Enthusiast, reminding you to wash your ass. See you guys next week.